I'm in conversation with Arundhati Bhattacharya, the head of the largest public sector bank in India, SBI, and this is her first selfie interview. She's as excited as I am. We're going to actually talk about a very important thing in Indian banking right now in FY17. The last year, there was a lot of identification of bad loans, but right now we need to talk about resolution of those bad loans. How do you think things are going to pan out right now, and what are the challenges really to resolution of loans or bad loans?
I think 2 or 3 ways that we can look at, doing something very quickly for these bad loans. One could be obviously some kind of a fund that can very quickly give these units some last mile funding or the working capital funding, because we have to remember that the ones that got classified in the last round, many of them are working units. And therefore, if you need to continue these units, continue the working of these units, you have to ensure that they get credit, and that becomes very difficult once you have classified a loan. Especially if you want them to ramp up capacity. So they need more money, and that is very difficult to get from the banking system once you have classified it. So probably, some funds that can look at doing these. Secondly, we should also be looking at ARCs. We know that the Indian ARCs today are lacking a little in capital, also in management bandwidth. So we need ARCs that have proven track record on turning around stressed assets, and I know that there are several such international ARCs who are looking at India. They are quite keen. I hope they will come in as quickly as possible, because the government has also now allowed 100% FDI in ARCs. And the third, of course, could be some kind of special situation funds which could look at taking out many of these units, which in the future will be viable, and taking them out from the balance sheet, and thereafter putting in maybe an O&M agency and supporting these units for turning them around. Yes.
Ma'am, just one point, the SDR was something that was introduced not too long back. A lot of loans have started the SDR process, but it doesn't seem to be moving very fast. What really needs to be done in order to improve that process? What tweaks need to be brought in according
Actually,
to you?
When we started the SDR, one thing we realized very soon thereafter is that the time given is only 18 months. Many of these deals do take longer, and if you go into SDR without a buyer already at hand, it can be very difficult. Not only that, we have found that even when we try to find a buyer, the process can be daunting, because there is a lot of due diligence that is required, and that takes time. So we believe that if you really need to go into SDR, you should do it only when you have a buyer at hand. Otherwise, doing SDR doesn't really improve the situation too much.
Okay. Thank you so much for spending the time and speaking to Bloomberg Quint, ma'am.